Hey everybody, I'm back for another live street epistemology convo. So yeah, how's it going, Phil? What's up?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
Good, good. How did you find the link to this?
I'm actually a pretty big fan of street epistemology. I started off with Anthony, and then I found out about you. So
Nice,
yeah, I'm a huge fan of you guys. I think it's a really, really cool movement and stuff.
awesome, cool. Yeah, I'd love to do this thing. Never knew who I'm going to get or what I'm going to talk about, so should be fun. I've also got another beer on board today. We're still working on Miro, and yeah. So first is the topic. Want to talk? Is this what we're going to be talking about? Mainly this topic.
Utility of faith. I don't know exactly how I would word it. That's not quite right, but it's very close. Yeah.
Yeah. How would you frame the claim?
I mean, the very generalized version of it is like, in certain circumstances, faith can be good, I think.
Certain circumstances, it could be good. Way to put something, or what do you mean?
Sorry, you broke up just a little bit there.
Faith in certain circumstances, faith can be a good way to know something, or
it can be a good faith can be a way to get to a good end, a good result.
Can be instrumental.
And in the way that I'm going to talk about today, I don't know how to get to the result without faith.
Okay. In certain circumstances, faith can be instrumental or can get to certain results.
Yeah, it can lead you to results that are good, and I'm not sure how to get to those results without faith. It's also possible I'm completely misunderstanding what faith means because I'm not a religious person.
Okay. Would you make this claim? In certain circumstances, faith is the best way to get to a result?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually, I mean, I would kind of really what I'm kind of saying today is faith is the only way.
Not the best, but the only way.
Yeah.
Result.
Yeah.
Spell out what that thing is.
A deep artistic work, an attempt to get to a deep artistic work or place in artistic work that is, I don't know how you can get there through just rationality alone.
Faith is the only way to get to a deep artistic work.
I know it's a very...
You mean like a mindset or like a zone to get into to produce artistic
work? I really mean the result, the actual result. Product that you put out in the end.
How about to produce?
Sure, yeah.
Deep artistic work. Faith is the only way to produce deep artistic work?
In certain, it's definitely not the only way in total, but I think it's a difficult one.
If there's other ways, then it's not the only way?
It's definitely not the only way at all. It's just, I think in certain areas,
in certain
I don't know
areas.
How, in certain ways, it's hard. It's I know this is going to be a difficult one to define.
Is it like for certain artistic works? You said deep artistic works. Does that constrain it enough?
In a way, I mean, of course, the word art is pretty much undefinable in any meaningful way, in my opinion. But like, I mean, I could kind of back up and give you some more explanation if that would help. I'm not
Sure.
really sure exactly how to fix this claim.
Yeah, feel free to just riff about this topic and we can maybe define it more.
Yeah, well, so just very brief like background about me is like I've never been religious at all. My parents never even mentioned God as a kid, and I never cared about God at all really until I found Christopher Hitchens on YouTube and got obsessed with those whole really fascinating debates, Sam Harris and Christopher Hitchens, all people like that. So I became very like educated on only one side only, about the atheist side. I would consider myself like fairly knowledgeable about, how to debunk Christian thought or whatever, but like just from watching tons and tons of content. But like, and I still definitely consider myself an atheist completely. But it's just that, I make some art stuff in my free time, and like, there's this weird thing that I don't really know how to get past, which is like, what soul means, I think all the time, even though I don't believe in paranormal or supernatural stuff at all. Like, I think this work of art has no soul to me, and that's why I hate it. Or this work of art has a lot of soul, and that's why I love it. And the word soul there definitely means something that has nothing to do with supernatural, I think. It's hard to know exactly what the word soul means in that case, but it definitely means something. It has something to do with the unknown, I think, has something to do with, a great work of art can't just be described in words, because if it could just be described in words, then you wouldn't need the work of art to say that thing or to evoke those emotions. So to get to those kinds of things through pure rationality or pure just secular types of thought and methods doesn't seem to work to me. It's there's some kind of like uncanny valley where you have to go into faith, it seems like. I've heard a few people that I find very interesting. Some people who have kind of crazy beliefs, and then some people who have not very crazy beliefs say similar things about this. One of which was this abstract painter, Agnes Martin, who gave this interview that I found extremely interesting. And she said a bunch of crazy things. She said, like, I've given up all my beliefs. She said, like, I don't believe in atomic theory anymore. I don't believe in evolution anymore. And that's so that I can take inspiration when it comes in to me and put it directly on the canvas without distorting it, without turning it into an idea, which is like a simplification of the inspiration, I guess. But there's a lot of people that I found very interesting artistically who have said similar things about this, that like, they're, the whole thing about the whole trope, whether, I don't know whether it's, cliche or not, but like the whole trope about like artists are kind of like punished in a way. Like some artists, like they don't do it because they just want to. Some artists do, but a lot of the really, really inspiring artists like are really kind of tormented in ways. And it's not necessarily just rational, straight A to B rationality that gets them where they're going. It's some kind of faith. It's some kind of, not, it doesn't have to be said that way necessarily, but it's some kind of, they just are convicted and trying to approach a result that may be impossible, that may be impossible or just crazy in the sense that what they're imagining is not actually a reality, not actually a possible reality. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I'm hearing a few things like the relationship between art and the quality of art. It seems like the better art that is produced, the less rational it is. So there's a potential trade-off there between rationality and the quality of art. If you're using rationality or secular ideas, anything that is propositional, maybe it's going to reduce the quality of the art, something like that.
I wouldn't say that it's a good art is not rational. I would say good art is it can't be it's there's something that's ineffable about it in the sense that it can't be expressed just purely through language. You know, if I could just tell you what's so great about this movie that I love, then there would be no. And if my description would contain all of what's interesting about that movie, then it's not really a movie that's interesting. It's a story, and I just told it to you, and that's it. You know what I mean? Like there's more to the movie than I can explain. That's all that I really meant with that. Not necessarily that it needs to be irrational.
Just not propositional, not something articulated in words. It's something more than what words can describe.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, what is the best way to make that a claim? And how does it relate to faith? I wonder.
So here's the thing. Have you ever heard the term a hill climbing algorithm?
No.
Okay, so it's pretty simple. Like if you were it's like a programming term. If you were a robot and I was trying to program you to climb a mountain, one, very naive, simple rules I could come up with that won't work, but I might think that it would work the first time is to say like, okay, what you're going to do, Reed, is you're going to check in front of you, behind you, left and right. So 4 directions. I'm going to check these 4 directions and compare the height of each of those directions to your own height. Mm-hmm. And whichever one is highest, you just move in that direction. Mm-hmm. So what's going to happen is, I should have said before, imagine you're at like a mountain range where there's tons of different peaks and only one of them is the highest, right? So there's tons of peaks. We want to go to that number, the highest one. We don't want to just go to a high peak that's not the highest. The goal is to get to the very top. You can't do what I just said, because what will happen is Reed will check in front. He'll say, oh, this is higher, and he'll go to that. And he'll keep doing that until he gets to any of the peaks. And then once you're at the peak, you'll say, check in 4 directions. They're all lower. I can't go anywhere, but I'm not at the highest peak. So what you need to do at that point almost is faith in a way, not exactly, but it almost is faith. You need what you need to do is you need to jump to a random point and check if that point is higher and then proceed that way. So it really is random.
I see. In order to achieve the goal of getting to the maximum height, you could find yourself using an algorithm getting to a local maximum.
Yeah.
But in order to actually get to the maximum height, you need some other method. And one way is random choosing. And are you equating random with faith? Or just,
well,
if random is irrational and faith is rational, they're the same.
In the sense that it's faith, in the sense that you don't know that when you say I'm going to jump in a random direction, you don't know that that's higher than your position, And faith could work, it does work for people, right? But it doesn't always work, and it doesn't have a high efficacy or whatever, right?
It reminds me of the grass is always greener somewhere. And if you're at a local maximum, could there be another peak somewhere? But then you'd have to go down into a valley to potentially get to another peak. So is that faith, that journey of going across like maybe a desert? I've heard it described that way too. So the analogy is like you want to get to the peak, and the best artistic work is like a peak, potentially.
Right.
And this is an analogy. Is it really that way? Where you're using faith to produce this deep artistic work? I don't know. And I think the claim is like faith is required to produce deep artistic work.
So when you do this, when I do this, at least in real life, this random jump. It's not random, obviously, I'm not just picking a completely random direction I could go in. I'm picking what seems to be good. It's just the seems to be part is, it's just stuff happening in my brain I'm not aware of, right? I'm not like going through this in a very rigorous way or anything. I'm just trying a direction, which
What
I
kind of
guess that's
stuff? Do you paint, or what kind of stuff do you make?
I make video games.
Oh, video games. Okay, cool. All right. And what is your process that you're equating with, or you're labeling faith for the creation of video games?
I mean, it's hard to describe, I guess. I don't know that I could describe it, but it's just like, it's like following. I try to follow like the feeling of what the game is. I try to keep this core understanding of what because that's, yeah. I mean, I try to. If you really focus on the original inspiration of what this pure idea was of this game, like you can try to realize it without distorting it into, lower forms. I don't know if that makes sense, but you can try to, I don't know if I can explain it in a way that makes sense.
I think I understand. I'm also a filmmaker, so creating a feature film or writing it at the beginning, you may have a certain idea of who the characters are, or where the story is heading, and I guess that's similar to a video game. Like there's a little bit of story involved, I assume. And it's like themes emerge, patterns emerge,
Yeah,
and then moral situations occur, and it's like you don't know where it's going to end, and you just try things out, and you like feel through it. And that is, a part of creating artistic work. Yeah. I have no problem conceptualizing it like that. I mean, feeling through the production of artistic work. Yeah, I don't think that is a entirely rational process. Relying on stuff like intuition and feeling.
what is that faith?
I don't think so. What is faith? The belief without evidence? Is it what do you believe? Believing?
Do you have evidence that you're moving in the right direction when you make that decision?
No, you're not. You can't predict the future. You don't know what's going to happen. This could be a wrong way to go.
I mean, if I were building an engine, I think there'd be some ways to know if I were moving in the right direction. Of course, when you're even in engineering, I don't know anything about engineering, but I imagine even, in that you're doing a lot of intuitive stuff if you're designing a complex system, because you can't compute all of the consequences before you make every decision. So you're doing some amount of intuitive work, I guess, but like you're using at least a lot more rigorous, I would hope, types of thought than it seems like when we're doing more artistic stuff, like making a movie or something like that.
Yeah. There's like a little bit of creativity also involved in science. There's the creation of hypotheses for solving, for testing a hypothesis, and just coming up with a hypothesis. And like with engineering, you might have hypotheses for how to potentially build something the right way or get some result in the most efficient way.
Mm-hmm.
And ideas just come to you, and then you can just keep them as guesses, as hypotheses, and then try to test them. Is there an analogous thing that happens in art, or just things come to you and then you try to test them? Can you test your intuitions in the creation of art and see if they're working for the art, like they're working for the product in engineering?
I suppose you could. It doesn't work for me. maybe that would be a more, to me, see, when I see people doing things like that, usually where they end up are results that I personally find very boring. I don't know why. I mean, this is just, my taste. It's kind of pointless to even compare, really, but like, whenever I meet someone who makes games in a very, very, in a way like you just described, where they kind of like have this sort of, rather than following their instinct, they kind of think, well, what's possible? Let's make a list of all the possible things, and then let's compute the consequences of some of them and see which one's best. That results in a very soulless thing. It results in a thing that feels very like, it feels like they're just a businessman almost. They're just trying to optimize, like make the thing that's most people are going to want, rather than like a thing that's very cool and interesting to like in this one particular way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. What's the best example of some piece of art or whatever that has a soul to you?
I don't know, any of the movies that I like. I don't know if you've heard of A Serious Man. It's a Coen Brothers film.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Um,
And I wonder how the Coen brothers made that movie.
yeah, I
Did
have no
they
idea.
do it with faith? Or was faith required in the making of that movie? Whatever that means.
I would guess that it's, even if it was involved, it's probably a small amount of the process, because they're so incredibly skilled. I would imagine most of what they're doing is intentional. It's not accidental.
If you intentionally put something together.
Sorry, you broke up a little bit.
Sorry. So intention matters as well to tell if something is used with faith or not.
Oh, by intentionality, I just meant like they know what they're doing. They're like, so that's not faith then, right? Like, I know why this will work, and that's why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I would imagine that's the vast majority of what goes into their work, probably.
So if the Coen brothers knew exactly what they were doing in the making of that movie, and they could, if someone asked them a question, why did you do this? They could give a reason for it, and that would be rational. If it was entirely rational, the creation of A Serious Man would then, and you think that movie has a soul, could the rational process create artistic work with the soul?
It probably can. I suppose it's possible. Actually, a better movie, I should have thought of this before, is what is it called now? There Will Be Blood. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That movie is very strange. It's a very, very strange movie. It feels like Chris, what's his name? It feels like he was possessed when he wrote that movie. It feels like he had a fever dream and wrote that whole movie in one night or something. It's such a strange movie. That's the kind of stuff that I absolutely love, because it's so evocative in such a specific way. You can't really even describe it, what it's even trying. I can't tell you what that movie's about. I could say a bunch of stuff, but it'd be a waste of time, because it's what it is so specific and so well executed. But same as what you said before, I don't know anything about the director. I'm forgetting his name now.
Paul Thomas Anderson, is that it?
Yeah, Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah.
I imagine probably most of what he does is not faith, maybe a little faith, but a movie like that feels like there must be. He can't tell you he can't tell you everything about what the point was. There's no way he can.
Yeah. The point of things. Yeah. It's like there's meaning that humans create things, and some of it is really deeply meaningful, and they don't know why they did it, and they don't know why it's meaningful. And like if they don't know why, then they couldn't have done it intentionally. So whatever process that produces these meaningful products, whatever that is, that's a good thing. We want to keep doing that. And do you think rationality is a threat to that process?
No, no. It's absolutely not. And I don't know that it's. I think it's a big leap to call what you just described faith. That whole thing is not faith. Some small amount of that is faith, maybe. And that's kind of my question: is that small piece even faith at all, or not at all? Because I've never even really thought about faith much. I think that throughout my whole life, I've probably been somewhat of a spiritual person, not in the sense of like I just believe whatever. I just mean like a soulful person. I've been kind of just naturally that way, and I don't really know what that means, or if there's any faith involved at all there. I kind of think, I'm not high confidence in this claim at all, but it really has grabbed me recently, these ideas, and I just don't know what to do with them really.
Yeah, I think I labeled the live stream "Is Faith Good Sometimes?" And I guess we can go with that claim. Faith is good sometimes, and then just brainstorm reasons to potentially believe really, or not believe that.
Before that, my question is this even faith? I don't know that it is faith.
That creative process or something.
Yeah.
How would you define faith? I wonder.
What you gave a definition before that I liked. What did you say?
Belief without evidence.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty direct of a definition. Belief without evidence.
Do you believe things without evidence in the creation of artistic work?
It's hard to compute what that sentence even means, but I am inclined to say yes.
What would be the things that you believe? That it's going to work out? That the art's going to be good in the end?
From the artist's perspective, that I'm feeling something that is real, that can be expressed, because I could be deluded. You can express deluded thoughts as well, obviously, but you could have an idea that just evaporates once you come to your senses, because it's not necessarily a real part of you. It's sort of a hallucination in a sense, if that makes sense.
Travis says strong belief without evidence. Maybe that's the one to go for. Like, in the creation of art, you have like hunches and guesses and stuff like that. So that's not really strong beliefs potentially.
The strength matters to me though, as well.
Yeah. So if someone has like a conviction, like they're almost like possessed into making this thing, like with Close Encounters, that sculpture of the mountain or whatever. If someone's in that type of phase, if someone is just possessed a little bit to create something, and they're just focused on it, and they just believe once it's done, it'll be good or something.
The thing that's scary to me about that specifically is I think if you care about your own sanity and your own well-being, you can't just do that alone. There must be some more rigorous investigation of whether this is good or not. Because if you just go on the conviction alone, you just do whatever is you're most convicted of. I've seen plenty of people make art that is just insane. It doesn't make any sense. It just seems unhealthy almost. It seems like they're kind of hurting themselves by going down this strange hole, doing this thing over and over, and none of what they're producing is good. And it's not bad in an amateurish way. It's bad in like a kind of scary way. Like I feel like they're losing their mind or something. So conviction alone's not enough, obviously. But the conviction matters, I think.
Yeah, some type of conviction in something without evidence. Is that required or the only way to produce deep artistic work? Or is it necessary? Is it necessary for anything, not just the creation of deep artistic work?
I think it matters. Not everyone seems to think so, but I mean, there definitely are valid ways to live your life without strong conviction. I just think that it's better with it. It's just kind of my opinion, though. It doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm. So, is strong conviction, I guess it's one way to try to get to your goals, potentially. It helps people have the willpower to get through to it, maybe. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe.
Maybe. It's like the will to believe. That's another way people talk about it. So, what's the claim we should talk about? If strong belief without evidence is faith, is that a good thing in any circumstance? And you're saying yes?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I kind of want this not to be true, but I don't know how to dismiss this or disprove this, really.
Well, we can talk about it. And the claim, you want to keep it in the realm of artistic work or make it more general?
I mean, that's the only real way in which I care about this.
Okay.
But it probably applies more.
And you would say it's required to produce deep artistic work. That's the claim?
That sentence makes it more ultimate than I mean it. That sentence is saying without faith, deep work cannot be produced, and I don't think that's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I suppose, yeah.
Faith facilitates the production of deep artistic work.
Right.
And faith is strong belief without evidence.
Right.
What does deep mean? Something with a soul? Is something else?
I don't know.
Meaningful? Should we just say meaningful?
Yeah, that works. It's still it's not really any more explicit what we're saying here, but I don't know if we can do better than that.
Kind of meaningful. Exceptionally?
No, but I don't know how to fix it. Meaningful to who? It's just kind of an opinion, I guess. But
Objectively? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think aliens will care much about our movies, to be honest.
We can just keep it at meaningful.
Yeah, it's good enough.
Is there anything we can use to define meaningful?
Humans care about it, I guess.
A lot?
Yeah.
Something you can care about a lot? Okay. Cool. And you saw my argument map thing here.
Oh, wow. It's pretty cool.
So it's like the claim, and then we have our confidence scale. Put my name here. Here's here. If we're on the way, this is like would be believing something, believing this is true over here, or believing it's false over here. And where would we put our confidence for this claim, I wonder?
I'm something like 30, 40%. I don't know. 30%.
On the positive?
Yeah.
Out there. Yeah, I'd say if we're defining faith as strong belief without evidence, facilitates the production of artistic work that humans care a lot about. I don't know. I'm in the middle. Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
No, that's all right.
Now let's think about ways to test this claim, if that's cool.
Yeah.
We'll get to reasons in a minute, but before we get to the reasons, how can we check the quality of those reasons? And like, what would be ways of testing these reasons, or just testing this claim? What are certain things that we could use to change our confidence about it? The kinds of reasons. Or evidence.
I guess when I try to give answers to that, I keep running into the fact that a lot of this is kind of just based on opinion, and that's kind of the problem with the claim. But I don't know how to fix the claim. So,
yeah, it sounds like it's a personal experience.
Yeah,
like an intuition, or you've come to this after experiencing work of art.
right.
So it's like
it is a lot of feeling,
which would make sense since it is a kind of art thing.
I don't know what special revelation means.
That's for like religious claims.
Okay.
So potentially feeling would be a way to test it. What are some other things? What are some kind of things that would disconfirm it?
Disconfirm it. Disconfirm the claim, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if there were works that I found very inspiring, and then the author could explain to me in a very convincing way that like they know everything, not necessarily everything, but like almost everything that I found interesting about the film was, yeah, I mean that's really it. Like if there were a ton of things that I found very interesting, ton of works of art that I found very interesting, and I were able to talk to the author, and they were like, there was nothing that I found very deep and interesting about the movie that they didn't know about. You know what I mean? Like they weren't like, oh, I didn't even mean to do that. Which I think is certainly possible. There probably is a lot of things that I like that fit in that category.
Okay. So it's like the authority of the person who created the art. It's like their reasoning or their testimony about their art.
Yeah.
Because they have like the relevant expertise about it. Could put that there. That'd be good. All right, cool. Cool. So, yeah, let's think of reasons potentially to believe this. What are the best reasons to believe that this is true?
I think something to do with what I said earlier is hard to refute. I think like I think you don't have to be religious to think that something has a soul. To use the word soul, SOUL, in that kind of way, like it doesn't need to be supernatural. It can be, very complicated aspects of our biology we don't understand, aspects of our brain we don't understand. Could mean the same thing as soul. But the base reality is that there's a lot going on that we have no idea really what's going on. Not consciously.
Yeah, it's like there's a premise like some art has soul. Is that the way to phrase that? Or like has a soul or just has soul?
Yeah, either way is fine. Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
And I guess the connection is like art that has soul
is more meaningful to people. I think that's pretty true. I think even when I don't like something aesthetically and I don't like what its message is, if it has a soul, I at least appreciate it. I think most people appreciate something that has a soul. Most people would, who just saw some like cute little YouTube video that's very like, like that, would appreciate that more than some like corporate whatever TV show that's like very mundane and very, very basic.
Yeah, the claim is like, what is it? Faith facilitates the production. What is it? So faith facilitates production of things. Soul. That.
Mm-hmm.
And then some art has soul, and art that has soul is more meaningful to people.
Yeah.
All right, great. That's a reason. I can stick with that. What's the best reason against this?
Yeah, that good things can be produced without a soul or without faith.
Yeah.
Like so it's like humans can find meaning. Humans can find meaning in things that are not soulfully produced. Although I don't know that that's true. I don't think that is true, actually. So that is, I think, an argument against it. You can try to word that if you want.
The claim is faith facilitates the production of meaningful
Meaningful art. Yeah.
Meaningful art. And the reason against it is we don't want to just
people.
Yeah.
Art with with no soulless art can still have meaning to people.
Okay.
Although actually, I kind of think that's sort of actually almost not even a valid argument. Because like, for example, if you go to Disneyland and you put a penny in the penny smasher thing, it makes a little picture on the penny. Like the reason why people love that when they find the little penny 20 years later in their drawer is they don't care about the penny really. They care about the memory. So it's not really the soulless art that's having meaning. But I don't know.
It's something about the facilitates verb that we might need to focus on. What is a reason against it if it's not facilitating? Does it inhibit? Faith inhibits? That would be a reason against it? To think?
As we kind of discovered, or at least what I took from part of our discussion earlier, is that not all intuition is faith. Of course, it would be kind of silly to say all intuition is faith. And so, if I'm an architect, for example, I can use intuition to get to a great result without using faith. Yeah.
How about we can use the word evidence, because that's part of faith in the reasons against it. Like evidence facilitates.
Evidence can facilitate good art, definitely.
Like evidence facilitates the production of meaningful art better. Like
better than faith does. Yeah. I mean, I think that is true.
Like I'm trying to make the logical reason against it. That's what people would say. Better than faith. Better than no evidence. Like meaningful art. It's not, that makes logical sense.
Yeah.
Or like the production of meaningful art. I'll say it. Oh man. Evidence facilitates. That's it. That's the there it is. And then like the connecting assumption is the definition of faith, I guess. Yeah, I think that's the reason. All right, cool. Now let's check the quality of this reason. Of the pro reason. Are you good on time?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, cool. Yeah, first we can do the logical analysis of this reason and just make sure it connects to the claim. Claim right here. I've been playing around with Miro all day. Like, a lot of fun.
Yeah, this is a really cool setup you have.
Thanks. I've got like, so if that's the claim, I need the reason thing here.
It almost seems like you could make a program out of this, like an app or something.
Yeah. Then I've got, okay, so the reason connects to this first premise. And that's this. That's the first part of the claim.
Facilitates production. Things with, right.
All right, so that's covered in the logic. And then there's a connection here with soul or art.
Mm-hmm.
Art is connected between those two premises. And then soul connects these premises. And we just need this. Soul is more meaningful to people. That's how that's connected. Meaningful artistic. Or like, how do we connect it to meaningful artistic work? It's like soul facilitates. Soul adds meaning to artistic work.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. All right, that looks good. Looks like a valid argument. All right, now let's see how we can test each of these premises. If we wanted to test the truth of this premise, faith facilitates the production of art with soul. How could we do that? Anyway, is that claim testable?
No. I don't think so.
Not testable?
No, I mean, I don't know what faith or soul mean anywhere near rigorously enough. I mean, I could give you my opinion. I don't know if that is really, I don't know if that's the direction. I assume that's not the direction we meant to go in. Shut up. Sorry about that.
I guess if we defined faith and soul well enough, it could be potentially testable.
Yeah, I think so.
And we've defined faith as strong belief without evidence.
Oh, right. No, we do have a definition of that.
What's the best definition of soul? Did we do that as well? No, we just did deep.
Soul. I mean, soul is kind of almost interchangeable with meaning, something that's meaningful, I guess. I don't really like that definition, but
So we're saying the same thing as the claim itself.
Sorry?
We're basically saying the same thing as the claim itself. Like if faith facilitates the production of meaningful artistic work, you could just say the same thing as faith facilitates the production of artistic work with soul.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah.
So we don't want to just restate the claim. Unless soul is not exactly the same thing as meaningful. It's something that produces meaning? Or is it actually the meaning itself?
It's the meaning itself.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And I guess that's a problem with that reason. And it's like meaning adds meaning to artistic work. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
So how can we?
Hmm.
What is an actual good reason for faith facilitates the production of meaningful artistic work?
I mean, yeah. I mean, just the basic reason is just you have inspiration in life. You have inspirations, and you don't know if they're good inspirations or not. And you have to have faith or something like faith to get to the end of the project to find out if it's good or not.
Inspiration. So like maybe faith helps to inspire, and inspiration is required for art. Production of art.
Mm-hmm.
Faith helps to inspire. Is that the right premise? Or just faith inspires? Faith is the best source of inspiration?
No.
No.
The way I'm saying it, I'm kind of saying, I guess, like faith is the inspiration. They're the same thing. Well, no, they're not the same thing.
The definition of it to make sure we're on the right page. Strong belief, out, evidence, something, aids, facilitates, something. Facilitates productivity, the production of art. That's the claim again. Why is that true? Why is that true? Like an aid activity, maybe?
You broke up a little bit.
Maybe an aids activity? Or promotes activity, artistic activity?
Faith is required to follow your inspiration.
Strong belief without evidence is required to follow your inspiration.
Yeah. You can either not care that your work will be good, or you can not be bothered by the possibility that it will be bad.
And then this connecting premise is potentially this. Inspiration is required to produce meaningful artistic work. That makes sense. Inspiration. Connecting thing. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think it's good.
All right, so that's just two parentheses. Strong belief without evidence is required to follow your inspiration.
Yeah.
Can we make that more general? Is required for artists to follow their.
Yeah.
That's an empirical claim, I think. How best way to test that claim?
How to test that claim? I guess we could try to find some counter examples. Other than that, I'm not sure.
Let's go to our tests menu.
Predictive accuracy is a difficult one because I would say that most people who follow their inspiration don't produce an interesting end result. But
maybe we could listen to the testimony
of the artist.
Of artists.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like we're just listening. And the evidence down here of testimony of artists. And if a bunch of artists say that's the case, that would give us reason to think it's true.
I mean, if everyone says God is real, it doesn't mean anything, right? So,
well, producing meaningful art or just producing art is a different claim than a God existing. So this method of testing might be fine for this claim. What do you think? I'm leaning towards pretty good test. What do you think?
All right. I'm not sure I'm convinced, but I'll go.
Is there a better test?
Well, I just think maybe they're wrong. Maybe the artists don't know why their thing is good. Maybe they made something good on accident. I've certainly seen people that seem to have made something good on accident.
I guess it's like artists following their inspiration. Are there examples of artists following their inspiration without strong belief, without evidence?
I just mean they could have followed their inspiration, but that wasn't what caused the thing to be good.
Yeah. But for just this premise by itself, of strong belief without evidence is required for artists just to follow their inspiration.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Is that true? Or is that a question mark? Or is that false?
I'm unsure right now. So I guess, yeah, it's a question mark.
Put a question mark on that one. All right, let's go to the next premise. Inspiration is required to produce meaningful artistic work.
No.
No?
How can we test that? Let's find out. We could test it with the same thing, but
same way of testing it.
Yeah, but we could maybe try to find a different one.
Yeah, like we can ask, like, find the top. You just find really good, meaningful artistic work, and then ask the artists, "Were you inspired in the making of that work?" And if none of them said they were inspired, then that would make that false. But what if they all said, "Yes, I was inspired"? Then that would be true.
It would be true for that art. I don't know if it would be true in general.
Yeah, the meaningful art.
Yeah, because I mean, I think it's certainly possible that an artificial intelligence could create something meaningful.
and required makes it a more extreme claim. All we need is one case where it's not the case.
Yeah.
Should we hedge that to something less extreme? Facilitates the production of?
Yeah, sure.
That's less extreme. And just listening to the testimony of artists would be good. A good test for that.
Yeah.
All right. Do you think that's true or false? Or not sure?
I think that's false.
That it facilitates the production of meaningful artistic work? You think it's false that inspiration facilitates that?
I think it's false that it's necessary. So even if you took it down to 1%, it would still kind of be false. Meaningful. Yeah, it kind of is false. Maybe.
That inspiration merely just facilitates the production of meaningful artistic work?
If you say inspiration can facilitate, then yes, that's true.
Okay. Yeah, that's all it is.
Okay.
Okay. So we've got that reason, and we have the premises are testable. I'm not sure about the truth of that one, but we think that's true. Great. We can stick this reason somewhere. There we go. Stick that there. Great. Okay. How about the reason against it? Let's check that reason. How are you doing on time?
I'm right.
Cool. So we've got this. All right. So evidence facilitates the production of meaningful art. And then faith is strong belief without evidence. Let me find the claim again. Faith. So it's like strong belief or just belief with evidence. Like belief with evidence. Belief with evidence facilitates the production of meaningful art. What is the connecting assumption there? We need some kind of like concept to put in that second premise, I think.
Yeah, almost got it.
It's like we need to put this in the second premise. Like evidence. facilitates meaning. With evidence facilitates the production of, I want to say, meaningful art. That's just, that's true, then that claim is false. But that's just the same thing as saying it's false. Why is it false? We need a reason. What is something, if true, would mean that faith facilitates the production of meaningful art of artistic work is false?
What one thing that could disprove this whole idea is just that if what the artist is doing when he's using inspiration in a way that he can't explain is not actually faith, meaning it's not actually a belief without evidence. It's just evidence that his conscious mind is not aware of, if that makes sense, you know? Like your brain is doing all this stuff in the background. You don't know about any of it. That doesn't mean that it's faith. Just because you're unaware of it consciously. It's like pattern recognition, right? Like pattern recognition is not just random, even though you're not consciously doing it. You're only aware of the patterns.
Oh man, this is hard.
I mean, really kind of what I'm saying, I guess, is evidence is the best way to produce meaningful art. Faith is only good when you don't have something better, which is evidence.
Okay. Strong belief with evidence is the best way to produce meaningful artistic work.
Well, the belief doesn't really matter at that point, but
Doesn't matter.
Strong evidence.
Evidence is required for meaningful artistic work.
Right.
That would, if that was true, that would be a reason against it.
And really, it's like yeah, I mean, if you could replace all your intuitions with hard evidence, I think that would be better in every case.
Yeah. Faith relies on intuition, and then intuition trying to connect something just kind of give up on this reason. We've got to think of something.
Counter argument.
This claim: strong belief without evidence inhibits work.
Yes, that's true.
And work is required to produce meaningful art.
Yeah.
Okay. And then connecting that is the concept of work. Meaningful art. There. Cool. All right, now let's check out these premises. Strong belief without evidence inhibits work. That seems testable. What's a good way to test that?
I mean, yeah, just compare the efficiency or the effectiveness of someone with expertise versus no expertise, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Like a statistical analysis of artists who do stuff. Yeah, that'd be good. And the evidence for that would be just a bunch of observations.
Yeah.
Cool. Just data. All right. Work is so. Will we say that is true? Strong belief without evidence inhibits work.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And work is required to produce meaningful art. I think that's true. Cool. All right. Now we've got reason against and reason for. Cool. All right, you're still on the Miro board.
Yeah, I can jump over to that.
I've got a cool little voting feature.
All right.
All right. So click join voting. And you've got 20 votes to allocate to these reasons. Like the more votes, the higher the weight, the better the reason. So feel free to click the plus button under counter 1 or counter 2 or reason 1, depending on how much weight you think these reasons should be allocated. You have up to 20 votes. You see where the plus button is?
Yeah, just thinking it over.
Yeah, sure. Like if they're equal weight, then 10, one reason would have maybe 10, or the other would have 10, or maybe they both have just like a little bit of weight, 5 each, or maybe all has 20, one has 20, the other has 0, or however you want to do it. I guess I'll join as well. Let me think.
All right.
Okay. There we go. We've got, let's see, 15 here and 7 here. 15 to 7. Go to my calculator, justification scale calculator. 15 to 7. And that should give us a negative 36. And this should go. Is my thing not grouped? There we go. About there.
Oh, wow.
Ish. It's not perfect, but there we go. Maybe.
That's really cool.
So now we have like, where's my highlighter? Highlighter? There. Some discrepancy. Where would do we think our reasons are wrong and that we need different reasons? Or our confidence is in the right place, or should we move our confidence at this point?
I think my confidence is wrong. I think probably a lot what I mean by soul and faith is not really much related to the usual meanings of those words. I think my confidence is probably about where the arrow is now, maybe somewhere around there.
Okay, somewhere about there.
Yeah.
And I think I'm sure there's could be other reasons we could give that might adjust the balance.
Mm-hmm.
But that was an interesting claim, an interesting inquiry. I'm still working on my menu of like options for evidence and tests and stuff. It's just a limited set. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of things we could add, but that was cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. What do you think about this claim? Does it make sense?
I don't know. I'd like to see some of these premises tested. If it really is the case that, what is it? Where's the reason for it? Or we'll just go down here. What is it? Where we have this one, the question mark. How could we test this claim? Strong belief without evidence is required for artists to follow their inspiration. If that was true, I would have a lot more weight on this reason. So maybe we can, that's where I would want to focus. How could I test that claim? And depending on the results of that test, I would definitely change my weight, change my mind. But I just don't know right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, what does B mean on the scale?
B is belief.
Okay.
P is the proposition. So it's like on the right side, you believe the proposition or you know it. like this little white strip, or you don't believe not P, or you don't believe P here. You believe not P, and then you know not P. This is just another way to categorize the confidence levels.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. That was fun. I always enjoy mapping these things out. And I'm always experimenting with ways to do it, with Miro and stuff. And if people are watching this still on live stream, any questions, any comments? Not really. Anyway, it's not the most riveting thing. It's on my second channel anyway. That's why. All right, so cool. Anything else to wrap up about this, Phil?
No, that's all for me. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks so much. Feel free to schedule another one. We can do something else or whatever you want to do.
All right, cool. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. Have a great day.
See you.